MTV recently interviewed Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka about the prospect of Nintendo movies, now that they've been talking so publicly about leveraging their IP and other media beyond games. They asked him whether he was making a feature-length Pikmin film to follow up the Pikmin short movies, and he sort of laughed and said, "That's a secret, I can't comment on that now."
Yeah, I find his reply to be very Miyamoto-like.
Yeah.
Because it seems like
he did the little X thing with his fingers, too. He laughed and, did the no.
It seems like every time he's asked about Pikmin, he's I wouldn't say every time, but he tends to be pretty evasive at first, and then later he'll come out and say, "Oh yeah, we're really doing this."
And then he drops a bombshell like Pikmin 4 is almost ready.
Right, well, the same thing happened with Pikmin 3. Like, they had made no formal announcement, and then someone asked him about it in 2008, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're making a Pikmin 3." Mm-hmm. After he had been asked, for the last few years, I want to say, back then. And this feels very much like that kind of moment.
Pikmin feels very much like a passion project for him, and so I think that the way he responds to those kinds of questions is almost more like, I, as the creative, this as my baby, I don't want to make any promises to you guys because I want to do what I want to do, and I don't want you guys having any expectation before I'm ready to announce what it is that I want to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of... I mean, I'm sure he's working on a feature film, given that he said no comment. I can't say that, it's a secret. And just given how incredible the Pikmin short movies were, those are some of the best short films I've ever seen. Like, Miyamoto clearly has a cinematic vision, and a very good one, and so I think he's working on one.
And when you think about Nintendo breaking into movies, obviously their biggest IP is like Mario and Zelda and things like that, but Pikmin is a lot easier, I think, to translate into a quality movie than either of those franchises.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. The story of the original would be a great adaptation, but even if they don't do that, there's so much potential for the sort of antics and the little stories that the Pikmin themselves can get into as well. We saw that with the Pikmin short movies, so there's a lot that they can do in that world. And I think that film, honestly, is a better medium for the Pikmin brand anyway. The RTS games are great, but Miyamoto has said himself several times, when you've got that bigger view of the map and you're focused on the strategy, the puzzle solving, you can't really zoom in on the individual Pikmin or little groups of Pikmin and see what they're doing and see their personalities. And that's something that he says he really, really wants to evoke with the Pikmin series. And of course, the way to do that is through some sort of film, whether it's short films or a television series or something, or a feature film.
Well, and plus, compared to a lot of Nintendo's other properties that I think would be good choices, Pikmin has fewer, I want to say, moving parts, but really it has a lot of moving parts because there's lots of Pikmin. But the set pieces don't need a lot of setup. The environments can just stand on their own. They don't need a lot of setup either. The characters are they don't really need explanation. That you just kind of watch them. So I agree. It's a really good choice.
Hello everybody, thank you for listening to this Nintendo Week clip, NWC. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us here on YouTube for more highlights and discussion videos from Nintendo Week podcast, or subscribe to us on iTunes for weekly breakdowns of all your Nintendo news, discussion segments on subjects, games, and more, and tons of other features. Thanks for listening, and we will see you tomorrow with another NWC.